Hello everyone, welcome to the 100% Manusia Stay at Home session. And tonight we are going to discuss about active Vista Human Rights Festival with Alex Poblete, the festival directors, with our moderator is Meninaputri Wismurti, our head of programmer. Okay, already joined with us. I will invite them.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Putri. I'm the head of film programming for 100% Manusia. I will say something in Indonesian language so that it will be easier for you guys to understand. And then after that, I will continue my my chat with the lovely Alex that have already been here yet. So ya, terima kasih semuanya. Selamat malam. Semoga kalian mendapatkan malam minggu, malam sudah minggu sekarang. Sekarang semoga kalian sudah menikmati akhir pekan yang menyenangkan. Jadi malam ini kita akan ngobrol bareng dengan Alex Pabreto. Dia adalah festival director dari Activista Human Rights Festival. Kita sebelumnya saya ceritakan dulu bahwa ini adalah salah satu program dari 100% Stay at Home. So 100% Stay at Home is basically a series of events that we have done since February this year, and this is basically a series of online events that we did before the festival started in the last quarter of the year. Kapan festivalnya akan dimulai? Nanti kami akan memberikan sedikit bocoran. Yang pasti nggak di bulan ini dan nggak di bulan depan, cuma nanti akan sedikit agak ke bulan akhir, cuma lebih sedikit maju daripada tahun lalu. Dan kali ini kita akan ngobrol bareng dengan Alex Poblete, dia festival director dari salah satu festival film Hak Asasi Manusia yang ada di Philippines, di Manila. Dan nanti kalau kalian ingin bertanya langsung dengan beliau, silakan kalian bisa tulis pertanyaannya di sini. Ada beberapa pertanyaan juga yang sudah masuk di dalam question box yang kami share sejak kemarin untuk acara hari ini. Okay, now Alex, I'm sorry that we talk first. Hi, we talk first in Indonesian language, which somehow I think is also quite familiar with Tagalog, in a way. So yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining our session tonight. This is our 100% stay-at-home program that has been running since February, and we've done this event for, it's a bi-weekly event that taken place every Sunday at 7 p.m., and we are happy to have you here, and especially since your festival is right on the corner, is coming up soon. And you also just finished with a great event, Cinema Without Borders. I think that's a big congratulations for all of you guys at Dakila and also at the Activista Human Rights Festival. So without further ado, thank you for inviting us too. So yes, without further ado, please can you kindly introduce yourself to our audience and followers?
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Alex from Activista and Dakila. So right now I'm working as the public engagement director for Activista and also the festival director for our Human Rights Festival this year.
Okay, now most of the followers at 100% Manusia Film Festival probably have never heard about the festival. So can you kindly share with us the general info on the Activista International Human Rights Festival?
So
like maybe when was the first edition and why was it created, something like that.
So Activista International Human Rights Festival was created by Dakila. The first edition was on last 2008. So it was, Dakila, firstly, is a collective of artists, young students, young professionals, educators, etc., that are trying to build a movement towards making a nation of heroes in the Philippines. Um, and the organization wants to do it through creative and innovative ways. So we found that using films is a powerful tool in bridging this gap of communicating human rights issues to the public. So the festival was created as an attempt to mainstream human rights issues to the public's consciousness. So before, the festival was held biennially. So we started like 2008, then 2010, 2012, and it was only in 2016 and 2016, right, that it started to be held annually. And Activista, as another institution, was created by Dakila to handle the festival. So Activista International Human Rights Festival really serves as a platform for celebrating our rights, our freedoms, and our dignity. And it really aims to engage new audiences, new advocates, in order to broaden the support towards human rights. And we do it, we try to how do you say? Like find new approaches through the festival on how we can better this engagement of the people with regards to this kind of topics. And we also see the festival as a space for solidarity and collaboration between a lot of our fellow advocates, organizations, and other artists to support the cause, and to encourage these collaborations in order for us to find different ways on how we can push forward the promotion of these issues. So yeah.
So yeah, I was so basically the Activista Human Rights Festival was first initiated in 2008, which is basically also longer than 100% Manusia Film Festival. Like you guys are doing it earlier than us, and it was done like yearly, so like every 2 years that it was done, and then you change it to an annual program actually. So is there any specific reason of these changes?
Well, when the festival started, it but it's like a traveling film festival where we do it from July to December. So it was a bit lots of hard work, considering that there's also a daily operations for the organization. And then it was kind of hard to sustain it. That's why it's also done every 2 years. But we found the need that if we really want to mainstream human rights, we have to do it regularly. So it was decided that it should be done yearly.
I see. Okay. All right. And how long have you been involved or working for Activista? Are you also joining since were you also joining since the very beginning?
I actually started as a volunteer back when I was a college student, and it was
Same here.
it was around 2012. It was the third edition of the festival. I just started as a volunteer and like observing everything, because I was a film student. So it was really my interest to know more about film festivals that time. So I was a volunteer in Dakila, and then I got involved as a volunteer for the festival. And then I started to be like a regular part of the organizing team in 2016, at the same time when it was about to be regularized yearly.
Yes. Yes. So then it's like what, 7 years, 7 to 8 years already you've been involved, was it?
Um, yeah. 2012. But the regular, I started regularly for 5 years.
No, this is quite interesting because I started also, well, basically, I started as a part of the audience, but then forced into volunteers because there was no people that taking care of the screening. And then after that, yes, from volunteer turned to what we are now, basically. So this is quite interesting. Like, I was just like wondering at that time, why would you want to volunteer? I understand that you have a background and a film school, so probably that's one of your reasons to join the film festival. But are there any reason why you, at the first time, you would like to volunteer?
Um, well, at first, I think it was really, of course, the film was the first
Mm-hmm.
attraction. And then I kind of got this interest about exploring human rights since I personally don't have any background on it before. Like,
Ah,
I think my first exposure into the whole um, to the topic is because, as well as because I was from University of the Philippines, where
yeah.
it's like a normal conversation, everyday conversation, and it's just like a realization that yeah, it's supposed to be a normal conversation, but why is it so hard for
Yes.
us to talk about it? So
Yes.
when I was in college, there our film organization in
Mm-hmm.
campus partnered with Dakila for a project. It was a different project that time. It's for like anti-human trafficking project, and then
Mm.
that's where I started to get involved and get to know Dakila at that time. And then it's just that I really want to dig deeper and explore. So I kind of stayed um, in hindsight, like just observing what would happen, and then I found out that they are having this human rights film festival, and I thought that it was perfect for me since I'm doing film. So yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean, interesting. So the very first issues of human rights that you were actually, that attracted you to join the well, not the movement, the festival is basically, it's because of the anti human trafficking, right? So that
Yeah.
was the first issue that got you involved. I mean, in my case, the first issue that got me involved is mostly about gender issues, less LGBT rights, and then also women's rights. So that's what basically got me into the festival, or what we call what I would like to call it the happy-go-lucky movement, because we're doing it via film, right?
Yeah.
It's something that hopefully can touch everyone. So that's I would just like wondering. I was wondering, what was the biggest difference when you first joined as a volunteer, and then now you get more involved, and now you become the festival director. I can understand that there probably a lot of time getting wasted and so much emotional part of you that got involved and invested.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's a kind of like a relationship, I think, with your partner. I mean, being in the festival that long. So, what was the biggest difference since the first day you started joining the festival until now?
The biggest difference is it's pretty hard, but I think it's the level of processing, I guess. Like from the start, I'm really new to this, so it felt like I was just like, like celebrating, like let's do that.
Yeah,
And then when you get deeper into it, like there's a lot of things that should be processed first. Yeah, lots of things
I
to think
understand.
about. So I think um it's also like at like it taught me to be really patient. and also
Yes,
really to have
totally.
foresight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I can totally understand your feeling. Like, we joined this festival for the fun of it. Yes,
Yeah.
and then afterward we learn, like you said, we process things, and then we get into we know more stuff about the human rights itself, and then we get more awareness, and of course that's give us a lot of headache of
Yeah.
just to think about everything and then to become a festival director. So yes, and how will the festival be done this year? I understand that last year you guys have done it via online because of the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
and how is it going to be done this year? And when are the dates of the festival?
So this year we're still sticking to having it online, although we originally
Mm,
we really thought of having a hybrid one where we can
yeah.
do physical screenings, but unfortunately, the situation didn't get any better, and the cases here
Mm,
are rapidly rising as well. So we opt to just have it online this year. It will happen starting on September 21 and ending on October 10. So this is also the first time that since we started it regularly that we extended the festival to 3 weeks instead of a 1 week one, because from our experience last year, when we had the festival in a week and there's lots of things going on, most of the
ah,
time the messages that we want to put out gets drowned out by our own communication materials, because
mm.
we release like, I don't know, like 5 things in a day. So it was really bombarding. And we also understand because um, the people now are really like tired of online things. So it really must be like
Yes,
tiring to be on the screen, both for the organizers and for the
for the
audiences
audience.
for the whole day.
Yes. Yeah, I can imagine. So you will start on the 21st of September until the 10th of October for the Activista Human Rights Festival. What are the programs? Are you just going to screen the films via online, or do you also have other non-film programs, for example?
So this year, we have a lineup of films um, and forums, and we also have like a series of events like a music session,
Mm, yeah.
music scoring workshop, and um, exhibits and curation of performances. We
Mm-hmm.
programmed the festival since the dates are coinciding with the commemoration of martial law in the Philippines. We kind of
Ah,
programmed it,
okay, that's true.
yeah, and and our ending is actually the deadline for filing of candidacy here in the Philippines for the elections next year. So we kind of
Mm,
programmed it in a way that like we're looking from the past, which is the martial
yeah.
law commemoration, towards looking to the future in relation to the upcoming elections next year. So our programming is along that way, like from the past, present to future, and encouraging
Mm-hmm.
people to creatively resist by reclaiming their stories. So that's how we did it this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and maybe for our audience here who probably does not get a grip about the martial law, maybe you could explain to them more what is actually the martial law that we're talking here, and why is it important for you guys to start the festival on that day?
So the martial law in the Philippines, it was the time where we have a dictatorial president,
Yeah.
which stayed for like 20 years, and
Mm-hmm.
it was the time where a lot of human rights violations and extrajudicial
Yeah.
killings actually happened, and
Yeah.
It's a part of our history that unfortunately since 2016 there was like a big realization that apparently there's a lot of distortion regarding what
Yeah.
happened during that time, that we got to the point that Marcos, the dictator, our president
Yes.
was a
The same like
dictator.
Suharto in
Uh,
Indonesia.
yeah, was buried uh, in in the in I forgot I, I I forgot how to say it in English, but it's
Mhm.
a like burial place for heroes. He was
Yeah.
transferred there just last 2016. So
Mm.
from this, we thought that it is important to give um, emphasis again into to
Yeah.
this commemoration of martial law, because of the
Mhm.
um, distortion that's happening. And before we hold the festival during December for the Human Rights Week, but since a
Mhm.
lot of human rights organizations are also doing different activities during that time, we found or we decided that maybe it's better that we do it on September to commemorate
Mm.
martial law, and as well not to add to the chaos of the activities during Human Rights Week.
Yes, I totally understand what you're doing, like not to over collapse with other event, and then but then also to get the voice, to get your aim, especially to raising the awareness of human rights more earlier and more, I think, more frequent than others. I mean, if you put everything in December or November, then probably people will, I don't know, maybe fed up or just
Yeah,
not going to hear about it. I think this is a great move, great strategy from your part to move it a little bit in September so
yeah,
that it continue to still have a voice, right? That's
yeah,
really good.
and maybe it could be like really a better way to amplify each
Yes,
other's activities because
exactly.
we can sync.
Yes, that's so true. So, what are your targeted audience? Like, especially in pandemic, like, are there special strategy that you use to reach them during since last year during this time of pandemic?
Right now, our target main target audiences are really the youth,
Mm-hmm.
students, artists, and young professionals. So what we do right now, because the organization has been working with a lot of schools from past years, we
Mm-hmm.
still keep in touch with them, so that we can partner with them in having the students attend. And we also have we're also connected with a lot of youth organizations and civil society organizations that also helps us in mobilizing audiences. And of course, the limit only the limitations of it really is, since not everyone has access to online.
Mm.
Right now we accept that limitations, but
Yeah.
hopefully we can find better ways on reaching those uh, who are not um, who can't access the internet for now.
Mm-hmm. So that has been that for I understand from what you're saying that the internet has been also a great challenge in
Yeah.
holding the festival. Ah, okay, all right. And how do you program the films basically or the events for the festival?
We usually think of our banner issues that we want to like
Mm,
forward. Like for this year, of course we're sticking with the martial law and authoritarianism, and
yeah.
then we um, and then war on drugs is still like a very big issue here.
Oh,
Um,
war on drugs. Okay.
yeah, And then we have press freedom because of what happened last year during the shutdown of ABS-CBN, one of the biggest
Yeah.
network here. And of course, the election season. So we have like issues on democracy and the election system itself. So from there, we try to think of things that think of films that are suited for those issues that we can create conversations around it. And then we also design the forum program basing on that. So yeah, it's mostly like that. We choose like main issues that we want to highlight for this festival, and then
Okay. Yeah. And is there any differentiation on how you program? Is there any differentiation in holding the festival before the pandemic and during this pandemic times?
I think aside from the logistics side, it's really hard to recreate the the physical togetherness when you do the
Yes.
festival. Even during the preparations, since you also do it like separately, so it's really also just like remotely. So it is, yeah, it's really a different feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think even the interactions with the audience are different. Like I don't know, because maybe when you usually do the online activities, it all ends by like getting out of Zoom or just finishing the film and then
True.
you're done. But
Yeah.
when you have the physical activities, like people just stay around, like lingering, then waiting for
Yes.
any talk.
Yeah, that's true. And then they are waiting to be kicked off from the festival venue. But
Yeah.
then again, and like it seems like they don't want to the screening to be over, and then they keep on finding coffee spot or cafe just to talk about the issue. Yes, I really miss those kind of
Yeah.
ambience. That's true. So you're earlier you mentioning that part of the biggest challenges in holding a festival is basically also the internet quota, which this is what we also find here in Jakarta, in Indonesia. So, but how about finding sponsors or partners, in terms of supporting the festival, or also in terms of giving funding for the festival?
So we usually, well, before the pandemic, we usually get funding from partnering with embassies, and our usual partner as well is the Commission on Human Rights here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have opportunities for funding from international NGOs or even local NGOs. So we look for opportunities where we can find funding that is suited for the program.
Yeah.
What else? And we others are really just like sort of I don't know if it's the right term, like an in kind of partnership.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
in kind,
Yeah.
yeah. So some are
Yeah.
just in kind partnership for just for the festival to be
Yeah, that's yeah.
mounted. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in 100% Manusia, we also receive in-kind supports, and some people brought water of gallons. Just, I mean, during the pre-pandemic festival, some people bring some food, some waters, and I think this is something that's also nice. And then some also provided, let's say, with the sound system and also the
Yeah.
venue, which is yeah. I think that's something that really support on running a human rights film festival. But but you earlier also said that the Human Rights Council in Philippines actually also supported the event. So how has the government reacted to the festival itself? Do they put it in their like annual agenda, or do they at least set aside a budget to hold to support you guys?
At least the our partnership with Commission on Human Rights is a bit like regular. Like there's a consciousness for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure if they really like already like put aside budget for it, but
Yeah.
it's it's always open for partnership. Like if they have activities or we have activities that we can
Yeah.
propose, it's open like that. But yeah, but I'm not sure if they really like set aside things for us.
Okay, well, we practically share the same experience, but it is good to have them on our back so that if
Yeah.
something happens, yeah, at least you could ask for their help. So, and what was from all like, I mean, you've been running the fest, you've been joining and getting involved in the festival for like 7 to 8 years. What was? Do you still remember like what was the worst reaction that you received so far from your audience, or
First
maybe I don't know, maybe from
reaction.
yeah.
Um, I don't right now. Like I don't know if there's really like a worse reaction, but like starting last year because we're online, so all I see are just like either trolling, trolling in our pages or something like that. But during the physical, when before the pandemic, I can't seem to remember like um a bad reaction. Maybe if there was a bad reaction, people like um maybe they don't say it out loud. Oh, or wait, we had last 2016. I think we had one
Ah,
screening in one of the provinces in the Philippines, where the screening. I can't remember the details much, but I think the screening was halted due to the content. I think there was some because it talked about the war on drugs, and I think
mm,
some are raised complaints. I think so.
ah,
Um, there was a bit of a um, challenge there. So I think we have to reprogram a film.
okay, okay. That was before the pandemic. So before the
Yeah,
pandemic, the worst reaction would be more to a physical output, I think, right? And then
yeah,
now during the pandemic time, it was more like trolling, like you said, like
yeah, yeah. I can't remember if there was something worse, but yeah, but I think so far from last year it was mostly just those things. Yeah.
mm, okay. And well, we're talking about the worst, but now what was like the best or maybe the fun experience that you have
Oh,
that you can remember until today?
so my favorite is always like interacting with different people because
Yes,
it
that's
was
also mine.
yeah, it's so exciting really to like hear different people like, and sometimes you get refreshed that oh they like someone unexpected is also like interested in this kind of stuff, and they are actually conscious about human rights, something like that, and having our audiences like expressing interest on how they can further contribute to the causes, and
Yeah.
they're looking for other platforms to participate again, and yeah, I think those
Yeah.
were like the best parts of it.
Okay. And so you're saying that the most fun experience is basically to receive the response physically when you met them, and then you get directly can actually react directly on that responses. Did you do also the same thing when the festival is shifted to an online one? Like, did you sometimes took over the social media account to give some response directly, or how did you manage to bridge this gap?
So when we transferred online, since
Yes.
we have these forums and stuff, we do receive like messages in our social media pages on um, someone someone wants to volunteer again. Or, yeah, someone wants to volunteer for the festival,
Okay.
um, and then some are asking to be part of Dakila. So those were like great wins for the festival. Um, yeah, and sometimes we keep their contacts. So when we have another event, even outside the festival, we try to reconnect
Mhm.
with them. So yeah, I think it's still hard to like keep the community when we haven't really like met face to face in a space.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's true.
because Dakila also have like different collectives in different cities nationwide. So when the Activista started its traveling film festival before, that's also the time where those collectives were starting to be built. So it, it's a bit hard transitioning to online and strengthening that collective.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
it's easier to broaden, but it's harder to like nurture and cultivate those relationships.
Yeah. I understand. It is quite hard not only to maintain the relationship with your audience and also with the volunteers and virtually, but it is already hard for you guys within this with the main core team. It's also to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't see each other's response, or you couldn't feel somehow the reaction of our partners or of our friends who work together. So usually during the festival itself, like if you would have it in an offline or a physical festival, how many volunteers that you had involved for? Because you having the
Oh.
festival for like 3 weeks, for example, like how many volunteers usually that you guys need or involved during the festival?
It's actually our first time this year to have a wide call for volunteers, and
Ah,
we have around like 27 volunteers right now for the festival
mm-hmm,
for this online
mm-hmm,
festival.
right.
From the years before the pandemic, I think we have mm, around 10 volunteers per area when
Mm-hmm.
we move around. So yeah, I think it's about that
Okay. And
10 to
and
10
you're
to
also
20.
saying 10 to 20, okay. And then you're also saying that the festival is not only happening in Manila, but also not only in Metro Manila, but also in other places, right?
Yeah, yes, before this year, we're still trying to arrange the satellite festivals for
Right.
that will be arranged by our collectives since we already have the collectives there. So
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to strengthen what program they can um, like take part on or they can
Yeah.
organize within their community. Actually, we first thought of having those satellite festival as the on-ground one, but yeah, it might be too risky for
Mm-hmm.
health and safety reasons. So yeah, we will just integrate it online. So,
Mm-hmm. But before the pandemic, how many places or other cities that you have worked with?
before the pandemic, I think the very first one they had around 13 cities, 13 to 15, I
Oh
think.
wow.
I'm not sure about the numbers, but it was a lot back then. And then as we go along, we have these major cities that we men, um,
Mhm.
that we sustain, that we have events. So it's like 5 major cities nationwide that we
Wow.
have collectives that help us to mount the festival in their own areas.
Right. And usually it's also take you guys for 3 weeks to do the festival. I mean, before the pandemic.
Before the pandemic, it's when it was a traveling film fest. At most, it was just a week per area.
Ah,
Yeah, like
per
three to
area
five.
though.
Yeah, like 3 to 5 days. So it took like 6 months, like from July to December to
Oh
go
my
around.
God.
Yeah. Usually the festival open on July, and then it
Yeah.
ends on the Human Rights Day.
Hmm. Ah, okay. Wow, that's a 6 month festival. I mean,
Yeah,
can
so it
imagine it.
really it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you go to 5 big cities in Philippines, and I mean, it's a lot of places and provinces to visit. That's wow. That must be quite a headache, I think, for you, also for the team. Okay, now we have already some questions from our audience. Like the one that we have here is actually okay from Joanna Nadia. Since the issues of human rights are quite sensitive, do you guys ever got threats from other people or yeah or negative responses?
Well, we do have um, yeah, like well, there are threats, not the most serious ones yet, but
Hmm.
we get it, and um, there are a lot of times, especially when starting 2016, human rights is
Yeah.
very a negative concept here in the Philippines, because it was equated in a way that well, when the president started his campaign on against drugs,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of extrajudicial killings that happened in this campaign. So of course the human rights organizations called for a stop to the killings, but the people's response, general response regarding this is that human rights defenders are cuddlers of criminals. So
Oh wow.
that is one of the things that the festival wants to actually address, to change the narrative of what is it to do human rights and what human
Hmm.
rights really are. So
Hmm.
I think we we usually get the comments every time we talk about human rights on a daily. We usually get
Hmm.
the comments of yeah, of being criminal, like like protectors of criminals, something like that. It's still a process of trying to break that um, narrative. So yeah,
Yes, okay. So then it means that when people started to talk about human rights in Philippines, they directly have this kind of bad image of, like what you said, like a protector of people who did bad things, but it's not
yeah,
really like that. Yeah, and then you try to raise the awareness, to address and also to introduce what is actually human rights. It's not about that or protecting the people who probably also are not guilty as what they seem to be.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you were earlier also mentioning that you the festival is also focusing on human trafficking and then also war on drugs. And are there any specific issues, especially related to the human rights application and violation in Philippines that you guys address during Activista Human Rights Festival?
We usually include in our programming the like the everyday issue that people can connect relate easily, like on labor, environment, women and LGBT, and children. Those are like our usual themes as well in the film programming. And then
Yeah.
and then we have the main issues that are like very apparent here in the Philippines.
Okay. So those are the main issues that very apparent here and needed to be addressed urgently in Philippines. So yes, the next question from the audience is actually what is the difficulties in doing this movement?
The difficulties, I think the public reception is one. Like it's really hard
Yeah.
to cross that or to change public perception and behavior towards human rights. So yeah, it's really one of the biggest challenge, especially when we mention human rights and everybody's like, I don't want to get involved in that. So yeah.
I mean, this is also quite interesting because we also face the same issue here. When you talk about human rights, people are just directly nope, 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 nope. We're not going to be.
They really like no.
Yeah, and how did you so far? How did you manage with this kind of reaction? Actually,
So far we're with our communications we're trying this hope-based communications where maybe because people perceive human rights as this dark grim thing that it's all oppression and negative. So we're
yeah,
trying to present it in a way that um, we actually all have human rights, and we these issues are not isolated. These experiences that other people are not for them alone, but it's for us, and that we can always hope for. We can always hope, and we can do actually better. So it's that kind of a hope-based communication that we try to apply. Um, yeah, so that we can change this perception that when we talk about human rights, it's supposed to be about all the negatives that are happening in the country. It's not just about it's not just about like government politics or something. Like we try to really like find a way to relate it to people, to where they can realize that they are part of it, that they have human rights and they can do something about it.
okay. And are there any popular approach that you use as part of the solution? I don't know, maybe you collaborate with a local celebrities or celebgram or I don't know, influencer
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. We also since a lot of the members as well of Dakila are artists, we really try to maximize influencers, celebrities, artists in order to connect to other people. So yeah, we really try to like balance out the popular culture and
Yeah.
human rights into the work so that it can be relatable to everyone.
Yes, I think that's also a great solutions to be done. I mean, at least to make people less afraid or scared of
Yeah.
when you put the word human rights out there. So, yeah, that's something that we should be doing. That's and also part of our homework to do so. And oh yes, also there are also other questions. I think can you share your top 5 human rights film that has inspired you all these times?
Oh,
Like your favorite human rights films?
my favorite human rights films is our Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, wow.
Then
Interesting.
I also love Koreeda's films, and before before my favorite was Still Walking, but now my favorite from him is Shoplifters. Then I also love Beast of the Southern Wild
Yeah.
by Ben Zitlin. And then this local film that I watched when I was still in college, it's called Purok Siete. In English, it's Zone 7. I really love that
Zone
film.
7.
Yeah, Zone 7.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think last one is something that I watched in a festival that stuck to me for uh, for a long time. It was my first festival outside the Philippines. So when I watched it, I don't know, it just really stuck to me. It was Dead Slow Ahead, documentary by Maura Herse. So yeah, it was a bit haunting for me. So I think that's why it stuck.
Have you ever tried to screen your favorite films like these 5 titles that you mentioned into your festival?
We have screened Zone 7 here in the Philippines last
Ah, cool.
2016. Yeah.
And
But the
how about
others,
the
no.
I
I
mean,
think it will be
is
quite
it hard?
expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine. Also, the Dead Slow Ahead. I think that's a very good film. But yeah, it won a lot of award, and it's quite expensive. But did you find difficulties in getting the films, especially in terms of online festival compared to physical festival?
Oh, this year, it's a bit hard
Hmm.
because we have to secure the films from
Yes.
piracy and all that. So in our side, there's a lot of cost that it entails. So
Yeah.
for the local films, it's a bit easier because we can always offer a ticket sharing scheme with
Mm-hmm.
them that can be beneficial to all sides. For the international films, it's a bit expensive.
Yes.
So
Can
and
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, I think last year we had one problem with one film because
Mm-hmm.
it's the first time I think that it will do an online screening. So I think the distributors were not yet adept into releasing it online. So
Ah.
um, we have to skip it during that time.
Okay. All right. So, when you negotiate the film with the film distributor, they were always asking you uh, about how to protect the material, right, from the
Yeah.
copyright infringements. Yes, and that's something that also faced by us, especially well, Indonesia and Philippines. We have a lot of cases of
Yeah.
bootleg or copyright infringement. So I can imagine that most of the sales agent and distributors are quite afraid.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Especially when the
yeah,
film is like new.
yes, exactly. I totally understand. And you're saying earlier that you also sell a ticket. So the festival it can be watched by other if they buy the tickets, or is it like free of charge, or how does it work in
Uh, we
terms of
have
ticketing?
we have a ticket. Uh, yeah, the most of the films are ticketed. Our short
Mm-hmm.
films will be free of charge, and
I
then
see.
we have a few screenings that um, have a sponsor, so we can give out passes to some certain
Right.
films. But yeah,
Yeah.
in general, it will be a ticketed film screenings.
Okay. And last year it was most of them were sold out, or
Um, we actually like opened the film screenings like 24 hours for open
mm,
for the whole run of the festival, and we didn't put
yeah.
limit to the tickets. It was quite expensive here for Filipinos. So that's also one of the challenges that we had, how to make it more accessible to them, but make it also sustainable for the filmmakers. So right now, this year we tried to lower the ticket price, and
Okay.
we'll try to observe um, if it's a more like accessible to the audiences this year. But we do still try to like look for other sponsors along the way, that so that we can like give out tickets for the public to watch the films.
Yeah. And how much you're planning to give the price tag for the ticket?
The regular ticket is like $4 US dollars.
Okay.
And then we devised a discounted ticket and ticket bundles,
Right.
just to make it accessible to them. That it's around, well, it's $3 for the discounted price. And then we also arrange like a bundle, a bundle package for since our target are students
Yeah.
in schools. We did a package for classes, wherein the
Right.
tickets will be sold for like $2 per person. So as long as there's like 30 people and above that are going to like bulk buy, so we can sell it that way.
Yes. And then after that, you will share the profit of the tickets to the distributor, especially for the local films, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good to know. That I mean, our festival are still free of charge, but and so far we plan to do so. But as you said, it is quite hard when you don't have the funding and the budget of the festival itself is increasing every year, and the films are getting expensive.
Okay, I think there's a little bit delay with the three signals. Let's contact.
The tree is gone.
Yes, so a little bit. Okay, let me check with Putri first, Alex.
Sure.
Yeah, so the internet is also one of the obstacles we face in our festival, as you know. The connection here is not that strong. Do you also share the same challenge
Yeah,
regarding
the
the internet?
connection here is is like really unreliable. The connection. Sometimes we're just lucky
Yeah,
that it's stable or something. But most of the time, yeah, you can't predict it.
yeah. Also, the distribution of the connection itself, it doesn't spread evenly here in Indonesia.
Okay.
Okay.
What was just what was just happened?
You left
The,
the session, Kaputri.
Okay. So probably just the bad
The signal.
internet. So yes, Alex, so sorry about that. So yes,
no problem.
but thank you so much for being a part of our session tonight for the 100% stay at home. I mean, this has been such a great chat with you,
Thank you
and
for
thank you.
inviting us. Yeah.
And thank you for spending time. I know that you're pretty busy since your festival is opening next week. So I wish you the best
Yeah.
of luck. I wish you the best of luck for opening the festival next week, and also for all the people, for Lenny, Julius, and everyone at the Dakila and also Activista Human Rights Film Festival. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. And also to 100% Manusha and to Rain. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I hope to see you soon somewhere.
Yeah. I hope we can like physically attend each other's festival.
Exactly, exactly. Thank
Good
you.
luck. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Ciao.
Bye.
So yes, everyone, thank you. So sorry for the technical problem that we face. Well, we live in Indonesia. You cannot expect everything to run smoothly these days. So yeah, terima kasih banyak untuk teman-teman. Thank you so much for Activista Human Rights Film Festival, for Alex Poblete, and then also for Dakila, for Lenny Velasco, for Julius, for everyone behind the scene that support the festival. And I wish you and well, the films will be geo-blocked to Philippines. So I hope that all of my friends in Philippines, please watch the festival. Please join them, and also for our festival itself, we will still have a 100% stay-at-home session on the 26th of September with the Birmingham Queer Film Festival with Adam Pushkin on that day, and it will be hosted by our festival director Renda Cuaca, and then we are still having every Monday. So tomorrow, guys. So every Monday we have a recommendation of songs, films, books that regarding human rights issues. So make sure that also have I forgot. We have so many programs actually. Yes, and we also have also like a kind of healthcare where you actually can ask everyone about the latest issues regarding the health. And uh, please follow our social media accounts for all the latest updates, including the announcement of our festival itself. It's not going to happen in September, it's not going to happen in October, so it's either in November and December. Please guess and and wish us luck as well. And yes, enjoy your Sunday and stay safe and stay sane. Goodbye.